everybody, it's Romania Black, and we're on volume 31 of Attack on Titan. Oh, well, we last left off with Eren asking Ymir to lend him her strength, and it seemed like he's causing the rumblings, so... I can't believe I just have this volume and next week before the anime. It feels very surreal. Discord has been super kind, I've asked them not to spoil me. I've not watched any trailers, any previews, nothing. I don't want to know anything going in to the final acts of season 4, part 3. So that'll be fun in a couple weeks to buckle down and watch that. Oh my God. It's gonna be a trip, let me tell you. I'm not sure I'm ready because it's been nearly 2 years since I started the anime. Crazy talk, right? Absolutely crazy talk. Yeah, it's been literally a year and a half since I've watched the anime, so it's kind of crazy. I do have a lot of comments before we start volume 31, so I want to dive into those before we get to this volume because that seems like it's gonna be relevant, right? So, Little Dude talks about how Armin's seeing the memories of Bertolt, and Eren asking if he saw anything relevant back in volume 28. I really liked Little Dude's comment because it was talking about how Armin was basically like, no, I didn't see anything relevant. But the fact of the matter is, what we come to find out through Armin and him talking during Marley and during Libero is that he saw memories of Bertolt that helped him connect to the other side. He saw Bertolt like with Reiner and Annie. He saw Bertolt like being very mundane, like saw him liking Annie, stuff that would make it easier for you to understand the other side is human, right? To Eren, it's insignificant because it doesn't help him solve the problem. But for Armin, it is helping Armin to technically solve the problem in that he's understanding that Bertolt and them were no different than Eren, Mikasa, and Armin. And they all had various factors influencing them doing the things that they were doing. So I was like, yeah. And I think that seeing Bertolt's memories, it didn't necessarily make him more attracted to Annie. No, we talked about this back in volume 29. But it did help him to understand and further his view against violence. That Armin's like, this isn't solving anything. Destroying the other side doesn't solve the problem, right? Because they're still going through the same stuff we're going through, and we're just perpetuating the cycle. So I'm glad that you pointed that out, Little Dude. Paris Andrew 29 talked about how Zeke and Eren had agreed to meet at Shiganshina back in the flashback. So Eren taking that little detour to go see Armin and Mikasa and basically slander them and distance himself from them was just basically something he kind of detoured and did himself, right? It wasn't necessary. He didn't have to know the location of Zeke from Mikasa and Armin. He already knew it. He already knew they were meeting up. So it's just him basically literally lying to them so that he can use that opportunity to distance himself and project his own insecurities onto them. So that's a fun time. That's a great thing to point out. As soon as Paris Andrew said that, I was like, well, true. So yeah, and we've talked about that in the last couple volumes. I liked Viper Leone Navarre's comment about how Zeke and Levi are polar opposites of each other. And I don't remember if I talked about this in the anime or not, but you have Zeke, who is in reality very cold and detached and heartless, but he poses himself as like, oh, precisely, peak, and I'm the Wonder Boy, and all this. Like, he positions himself to be this positive, upbeat character that's a mentor to the other warriors, when in reality, he doesn't give a shit about them. He's just cold, detached, and wants to have his euthanasia plan, and that's it, right? And then you have Levi, who is the opposite of that. He appears cold and detached, and like he doesn't care. But in reality, he cares a lot, and he's a lot softer and warmer than he appears, and he's affected by things a lot more than he appears. And the sad thing is, and we talked about this in the anime, I'm not so sure that Eren realizes that. I feel like Eren's always looked up to Levi as someone who could make these cold and calculated decisions. But the fact of the matter is that whereas Eren's like, yeah, I'll just be like Levi and make these cold, calculated decisions, and that's just what needs to be done. # no regrets. Levi's like, well, actually, I care about the majority. Oh, wait, what? You know, like you do. It's interesting. And what's funny is that I liked Viper Leone pointed out that Zeke and Levi, the thing that makes them very shippable in the weirdest of ways, even though I'm a hardcore Eruri shipper, is that Zeke and Levi are the only ones that seemingly are very aware of the reality of either of their characters. Zeke knows that Levi is actually warm and soft inside, and he uses that to manipulate him during savagery. And Levi knows that Zeke is putting on a facade of being this nice person when he's really very cold and detached. It's poetry, right? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And then finally, Christopher Peterson had a lot of notes. Christopher Peterson is very anti-Eren, which I'm fine with. I'm trying to play Eldian advocate, but I like Eren's character and how he is written and being complex and subverting a lot of shonen protagonist tropes. I'm not a fan of Eren, if I'm being honest. He's not in my top 5, I don't think. Top 5 well-written characters? Sure. Top 5 favorite characters? No. So, but I do think that Christopher pointed out 3 things that are worth mentioning before we start this volume. First, Eren definitely has tunnel vision. I think that I've talked about this in the anime, and in the last volume, it's very apparent that even though he was not wanting Zeke to use his scream on Falco and the others, because it would obviously put Mikasa and Armin and them in risk, it's like Christopher Peterson did a great point in pointing this out. He was okay with the wine. He knew what Zeke was going to do, taking the wine there. So it's like Eren gets so tunnel visioned and focused on this one goal and this one future memory he's had. And he's just trying to get to this one in-case scenario. He's ignoring everything that's happening around him and all the what-if scenarios, because that's just how complicated time is. You can't control everyone unless you use the power of the founder to do so, which Eren is not going to do. He's not royal blood. He can't do it. So it's like, I mean, I guess if he used Zeke, wherever Zeke is, we don't know what's happened to Zeke at this point. Who knows? We'll probably find out in part 3, act 1 and 2. But it's just all the what ifs Eren is not privy to, or he doesn't seem to be, because it's like, again, what did you think Mikasa and Armin were going to just sit in that cell and wait for you to come back? No. Did you think that Zeke, did you not think of the possibility that people could have died because of the wine? So there was that point. And then I do agree that, yes, it's such an interesting point last volume when Eren hugs Ymir and tells her to make her own decision. It's such a moment because, yes, I fully agree. Ymir is not a god. She's not a monster. She's just a girl that was stripped of her freedom and is trapped in this endless nightmare. And she should be free to do her own thing. But Eren doesn't let her do her own thing. He gaslights her and saying, give me your strength. Do what I want you to do. My way is more important and correct than everything else. And granted, Eren's solution is the polar opposite of King Fritz. 100%. And you can argue that to the moon. But the fact of the matter is both King Fritz and Eren have basically asked Ymir to do something for them. And she still doesn't get to do what she wants. Except it's like if Eren had said, you're not a god, you're not a person, do whatever you want, and backed off, and then she decided to destroy the world, then it would have been something different. But here's the thing, Ymir don't give a shit about Armin and Mikasa. If she wanted to destroy the world, that would include Armin and Mikasa, and that's not part of Eren's agenda. And it's like, oh, we can destroy the world, but not these 5 people. Not these 5 people I care about. So it's like, oof. So then it changes a little bit, right? So I do agree with that he is still manipulating her. He's just putting the gloss over to being like, oh, you have freedoms and rights, but help me, you know? So ultimately, it's not entirely her own choice, even if she's led Eren to her. So, and then finally, the vow to renounce war. I think it's such a tumultuous thing because on the one hand, Christopher was talking about how it's not technically a bad idea that Fritz wanted to just leave the conflict and take people with him and just vow to renounce war. That's not the bad thing. To me, the bad thing is wiping the memories. I'm very much against the trope of wiping memories because memories are tied to our identity. They're tied to who we are, our agency as people. They're tied to our own freedoms. They're tied to who we are. And so anytime a story takes away memories from a character, it really irks me. I'm like, I don't like this. Because it's such a big, important part of our own lives. And I think that if he had created, and here's the problem. The solution would have been if he created the walls, took the people with him and said, hey, you guys we can bunk out here and stay away from all that shit. Who wants to be a part of that? And didn't erase their memories, then that would have been one thing. And you could argue, well, then people would have left. They would have come and go. It couldn't have worked. Sure. That's a very real possibility. But the problem has been that because King Fritz erased their memory 100 years ago, and for 100 years, the entire people of Paradis have been completely ignorant to what's been going on. Now, Armin and Mikasa and them are like, we have no time to catch up. We have no time to save our people because we're just now learning things we should have been learning years and years and years ago. So it's just made it that much harder for them to do what they need to do because of what Fritz did. So it's a very complicated, convoluted plot, but that's what we like about it, right? Because it's just so interesting and complex. But yeah, so fun times. I've talked for 10 minutes, so that's great. But yeah, I'm super excited to read this volume. I can't believe we just have this in the next volume. But it's weighing on me that I'm gonna have to devote like an entire day to record probably. Season 4, Part 3, Act 1. I'm not watching the 2 acts together. Sorry, no, can't. My brain cannot. So we're gonna be doing them 1 week for one part, 1 week for the next part. So that's exciting. But yeah, so I definitely want to talk about this volume. So let's go dive into it, and we're not gonna waste any more time. We're gonna dive into volume 31 of Attack on Titan, and we're gonna do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I really like this cover. Eren and his weird... It's the thing. It's not only that Eren is the founder. He's not only the founder, the founder is taken over Eren's body. And it's like that parasite's like, yes, this is what I've wanted all along. To take over Eren's body and use it to go destroy the world, right? It feels very villainous in that respect. And there's the thunder and lightning. But also Eren is literally suspended in a cage of his own design. How fitting metaphorically that Eren has created a cage around himself and it's his own fault. Ha! Fun times. But I also love that it's Mikasa who is facing him. The one person who has loved him unconditionally without question. And the one person he's done all of this to protect is the one facing off against him. The only thing I wonder with the cover is I wonder if the Titans, the Colossal Titans, are all based off real people or based off individuals, or if Isayama was just drawing creepy faces. I don't know. It seems like they could all be characters from the series, especially that one back in the back kind of looks like it could be Falco or something. But it's a very despairing cover. Island Devils, Thaw, Sunset and Pride. Oh, we're getting in some good stuff now. We're getting in some... I'm interested to see how this is handled in the manga, because I know that around this time there's a lot of controversy with the plot, and so I'm very curious to see how Isayama handles it, and I want to see the manga version. So I've been waiting for this for a long time. I've been waiting for volume 30 for a long time, and I've been waiting for this volume for a long time, because how do you follow up something crazy like last volume? How do you follow it up? Oh no, Porco and Colt! They did! And they X'd out. Well, that sucks. No! Damn it. Not good. Oh, we're going back. Oh, we're going back to this? We're going back to Dawn of Humanity stuff now? Oh, interesting. Everyone says that Eren has changed. I believed that too. But maybe that wasn't true. Maybe Eren hasn't changed one bit, and that was who Eren's been all along. What part of Eren did I see all these years? And I think that, yeah, that's such a good question. I think that Eren, he's always been like this, but younger Eren was driven by more anger and frustration and impatience and this but at the same time curiosity and it's part of growing up. People are not necessarily changing, but they reveal different parts of themselves as they get older, and different parts of yourself become more dominant. But Eren just staring out there at Marley like, I'm gonna wreck this place in 4 years or however long. Oh my god. Wow. I love Hanji and the Hat. They all look like they're spies and or journalists, and they're surveying. Look at this troop! Look at this troop! Okay, you got Hanji, Connie, Sasha. You got the Chaos Trio of Jean, Sasha, and Connie. I like that Jean's the tallest. I love Armin and Hanji on either side with the briefcases. They both look like the versions of Erwin. They look like Erwin like has split in two through mitosis and has become the two of them. And then Levi with this pose, like right up front, like trying to look as dominant as possible, even though he's like 5'2". Of course, Eren and Mikasa are not with them, right? Is that a horse? There are cows like that. It's a cow. It's a car. Yes, thank you. And people being like, uncultured swine. They're buying carrots. Love it. And then, of course, Eren and Mikasa are together. Stick close to me. Wow, that look on Eren's face. That look on Eren's face. That look in between the panels with Mikasa, it's like Eren in that moment looks like, oh my God, I'm going to kill all these people. Like, and the thing about it is, it's like, then don't. You know? Then don't kill them all. If you're feeling slightly remorseful about it, don't. And Armin's like, quit spacing out. We're in the outside. And then, yeah, so here's the difference. You see Eren's face and Armin's face. Armin has like all these lights in his eyes. Like this is Armin's dream, seeing all of these people and interacting with them. And Eren is like the ultimate introvert where he's like, I don't want to interact with any of these people. And it's just, there's no light like in his eyes. This is what's on the other side of the sea. We never noticed, or maybe we didn't want to. Yeah, in that moment, like Armin and Mikasa in that bottom panel, they both look like they know something's up with Eren, but it's kind of like, I mean, there's like, you know, signs of depression, things like that. It's when you notice your friends not having fun in the, you know, if you go somewhere with a friend, like a friend group, and there's that one person that's not happy, right? And it's like, and Eren is being an energy vampire at this moment is what he's being. You know, if you there are some friend groups that have like an energy vampire where it's like it's all centered on them, and if they're not having a good time, it drains the energy from everybody else, and you either have to be like, oh, what's wrong, or you just kind of have to be like, we're gonna have fun regardless. And that's kind of what's happening is that Armin and Mikasa, Eren's not gonna tell them what's up because Eren is a baka, and so they're both like, well, do we let him be a Debbie Downer to our experience, or do we, you know, soak it in and move on? And that's such a hard thing. Oh my God. But yeah, this thinger's cold. Oh, Sasha, the ice cream. Oh my God, this thinger's cold. What a hick. Yes. Oh my God, the clown. Ah! No. Want some candy? Oh my God. It's not nearly as creepy as Mappa in the anime makes it out. Not nearly as creepy. No. It is most certainly not. Oh my God. Are you kiddos playing gangster? Oh my God. What's so funny about that, about playing gangster, is that you have Kenny, who is a literal mob man on Paradis, and then you have his nephew, who looks kind of the same. Levi looks so uncomfortable in that panel, and it's hilarious to me. Look at Mikasa's face. Where she, oh... Look at her with that little face. She looks so happy. And she's like, oh, she wanted to do the trope, the romance trope of, here, try some of this, like the indirect kiss. And Eren doesn't get it. Yeah. Eren is being such a Debbie Downer. She's like, do you want some ice cream? Do you want to enjoy this thing in the now, in the present, while we're here? And Eren's like, the Eldians in the internment zone really get it. It's like, Eren! That's something else that's so frustrating, is that Eren is he's a slave in part to his father's memories. He's a slave to the past and the future. And he just can't live in the present. That's the problem. And instead of taking this moment to enjoy these little freedoms, these little moments with people he cares about, he's too worried about the past he can't change and the future that has so many what ifs that you don't even know if it's going to be real or not. It's like, so frustrating. There are all sorts of things outside the walls. And yeah, he takes the ice cream, but he doesn't look happy. Uh-huh. And Mikasa just stares at him like he's so sad. And it's like, but Eren, you don't have to do this. You can change the future. You don't have to do that. And okay, the little boy This was the boy from the memories. I couldn't remember last volume, but this is the boy that was part of Eren's memories. Was that they save him because he's going to get hurt, and then they take him off and let him go and give him the coin purse. And again, that's Levi, right? And that's such a good moment, right? What's so good about that is Eren has his back turned. Eren has his back turned while Levi is doing this gesture, but Levi's showing who he really is. On the outside, he looks cold and heartless, but then when he gets the boy aside, he's like, take the money and go. Like, that's how Levi really is. And it's frustrating. So then we see Asmodeus, and she talks about subjects of Ymir who escaped internment are being discovered around the world. At the height of the Eldian Empire, it was considered a sign of nobility. You see what it's like for Eldians outside the walls. How difficult it will be to convince other nations to form friendly relations. Right. And so they all seem very aware of this. And Armin's like, but if we abandon the path of peace, we have no option but to join Zeke's conspiracy. And we put our fate in his hands and be forced to sacrifice the lives of Astoria and the children she'd bring into the world. Yes. And so I like the Hanji's like, we need to avoid that future. And we're attending the Association to Protect the Subjects of Ymir. And the Asmodeus woman's like, yeah. She's like, it's probably not going to go the way that you want it to. How realistic do you think this plan is? And Hanji's like, well, it's difficult and dangerous, but all we can do is keep trying. Which is what Nicolo's going to tell Gabby later. Like, yes, it's dangerous. It oftentimes doesn't seem like it's worth it, but you have to keep trying. And of course, during these conversations about peace, Eren is not there. He's by himself at the internment camp. Oh. And he was crying because he knows he's going to kill them all. And he says, not yet. Like, he knows exactly what he's about to do. I'm like, then just don't freaking do it. Yep, they're like us. And he's sad. He seems sad there because they, like us, have no freedom left. But the thing about it is that during the night in the tent, he says they have no freedom left, but they celebrate with them. And it's like, I'll get to that in just a second. And Eren says, why do you care so much about me? Oh, I love that Isayama just makes this the two of them. Is it because I saved you when you were a kid, or is it because I'm family? And of course, Mikasa's like, what? Like her crush is asking her suddenly why she likes him. And she's like, I'm not prepared. I didn't get my essay edited. I don't have answers ready. The pageant wasn't supposed to be on now. And he says, what am I to you? And when she says you're family, she's not lying, but you can love family. And you can love family more than just friends. I like he speaks in the little gibberish language. And he's, I love that John's like, what are you doing, Eren? Are you stupid? And he says, perfect timing. And then they all gather around, they drink and everything. I'm very torn about this scene, honestly. I was torn about it in Dawn of Humanity. And them all just in there. I love the kid bumps into Eren. That's why I remembered him, because he bumped into him, make him spill the wine. I'm very torn about this scene because I love it and it's so heartfelt. And then Levi shows up and he's like, these damn kids. I love Eren's leg is over the top of John's head. And then of course we have Mikasa and Armin. Although Eren does not look drunk in any of these scenes. In the anime, they make him drunk or look drunk. But here, he doesn't have the blush on his face. He's just sitting there, sitting with them. But he doesn't look drunk, right? I'm very torn about this scene because, on the one hand, it is like this last night where they're themselves. Poor Sasha's thrown up in the waste bin over there. But it's like Eren says they have no freedom left. But these people clearly... Eren cannot see the forest for the trees. He can't see that these people do have little freedoms. It's not, what Eren considers freedom, but it's these little things, and they make do because, again, it's been said since the very beginning of the series, life is cruel, but it's also beautiful. Like, yeah, you don't always get what you want, but you can make do with what you have if you just look at it from a different perspective. And it's like, it's so frustrating. So then they go to the one thing where they're seeking aid for the subjects of Ymir scattered across the nations. The refugees were never once Eldians, nor do they have anything to do with the ideologies of the Eldian Empire. They're just victims forced by the Eldian Empire. But then they say it's just the devils of that island who deserve our hatred. The devils who escaped 100 years ago. Our enemies are those island devils, which is the title of the chapter. And that's the day that Eren leaves. And that makes me frustrated as well. Because, yeah, Eren's heard the same old story over and over again. And it obviously makes sense narratively why Eren would leave. Makes sense. But the fact that he didn't talk with any of them, he didn't communicate, and it's just, Eren just gives up. He's like, we don't have time, we're done, whatever. But it goes against the idea of, well, yeah, you've heard this idea, but what if we did this? What if we talked to them? And I know there's no time, and I know everybody's going to in the comments are going to be like, well, blah, blah, blah. But whatever. It's the fact that Eren just saw one side that confirmed what he believed, and then he left and pursued it rather than trying to just, I don't know. I can't. The letter we received from him said he would entrust Zeke with everything. And the next time we saw him, it was too late. I wonder if there's any other choice we could have made. Maybe this was set in stone from the start. But I can't help but think, what if that day I chose another answer? That is huge for Mikasa. For her to be like, what else could we have said? And the idea of, hashtag no regrets. I think Mikasa regrets what she said to Eren that day because she didn't speak from her heart to Eren. She was caught off guard and she didn't speak from her heart. And she's like, if I told Eren how I really felt, then maybe things would have been different. Right? So I feel like at this point, the whole point of them meeting up with Eren is for her to confess to him what she wanted to say from the start. But what that's going to look like, I don't know. And I think that it brings up the point of, she can't change Eren and how he is. But if you knew what you knew from the start, would it have changed, how you acted about certain situations? But God, these shots, maybe it wouldn't have come to this. Oh my God. Like they see the back of him. It's just like Eren's skeletal booty with all of it. Oh my God. And the colossal titans. Oh my God. What is that? It's big. It's too big. It appeared from where Eren was. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, the sound effects. Like they can't hear anything. Oh. And then, of course, Armin is internally screaming, being like, this is the scenario I was afraid of, but maybe it's not the scenario I was afraid of. Maybe everything's fine. Like, Armin is trying to tell Mikasa that everything's okay. And it's like, this is what Eren wanted. He's going to crush the allied forces gathered in Marley. Eren's on our side. He must be. Yeah, like Armin's like, surely he's not going to do something really ridiculous like cause mass genocide. He wouldn't do that. Like Armin's face. Oh my God. And then Yelena, of course, is like, where's Zeke? And Mikasa's like, Eren came back to our side. And Armin does not look convinced. He looks like, nope. No. And then, yeah, Armin is having a freak out moment. Armin's freaking out a lot because at first he was like, no, everything's fine. We're great. And then I love just the rumbling, like the sound, like it's just, it's too much. It's just like so loud. He's like, even while Maria's being destroyed, there's no need to go this far if he wants to destroy the Allied forces. The hundreds in Shiganshina should be more than enough. Why sacrifice the walls just to attack if he only wanted to crush the Allied forces? If that was all, there'd be no need for all of this. It's like Armin's brain is like going into overdrive and trying to realize what's going on. Oh my gosh! Oh! Hear me, subjects of Ymir. What's creepy is that it looks like there's like new like lives being added to the tree. Oh my god. All subjects of Ymir. Oof. Oof. And then it went back for just a moment, and then it went back again. Oh my god. My name is Eren Yeager. And Armin looks absolutely terrified. Like, nope, this is not good. This is not what we wanted. Nope. I now speak to all the subjects of Ymir by way of the founding Titan's power. I love that Jean looks so pissed. Jean's just like, son of a bitch. Of course he is. And of course, Connie's freaking out. Every wall on the Iron Island of Paradis has been undone, and all the Titans buried within them have begun their march. And my goal is to protect the people of Paradis, the land where I was born and raised. Oh, is that... Oh, you can see Falco. He's so tiny back there. Of course, Reiner's like, son of a bitch. And then poor Peak and Gabby are like, no! But the world desires the extinction of Paradis. Over countless years, the world's hatred has grown beyond even the bounds of this island. The people of the world will surely not stop until they've killed every last subject of Ymir, and I reject those wishes. Oh my god! Oh, that face! It's monstrous. Yeah, that is the face of a monster. The Titans of the walls will thunder across the world to every land beyond the island, and their rumbling feet will snuff out every life in those lands. I'm like, meanwhile, everybody's like, but the ecology, but the world, Eren, you're dooming Paradis. What are you doing? Stop, you ignorant hillbilly. Oh, Thaw. Ooh. And there's Annie's dad. Yep. Shit, they're like, well, thanks for giving us the heads up. You're gonna kill all of us. Gee, thanks. Yeah. Oh my god, the Titans are coming to kill us. Oh my god, and then Falco, where'd you go? Oh my god, and Gabby's just got the gun walking around. Oh. And Reiner back there. Oh no. Who did? Why? And Jean and Connie probably. Can you move? No, he's injured. Yeah, really bad. Oh, from where he was saving Gabby. Eren's going to destroy the world. I mean, he kind of hinted that back when he was with Reiner. Okay. What good would it do to tell him? Where would we run? And then Reiner's like, you can't kill Eren. No. He stripped my Titan of its armor. He can control all the subjects of Ymir as he sees it. So if he took the armor from Reiner, can he not have armor anymore? We'll wait. We'll get to that when we get to Pride and all that. And probably volume 32. Ugh. Yeah, where do you run, though? You might as well stay here if that's the case. And then again, the parallels. She looks exactly like Eren putting her hair up. As if I'd give up. Hold on, Falco. Here's the thing. What she doesn't say is fight. We could argue that she means it. But she says, I'm not giving up. Which is different than saying fight. Right? Not giving up assumes like a defensive position in some regards. So, but it's the same parallel as Eren. She's in front of a mirror with a water basin. The difference is the water's not overflowing and chaotic like it was with Eren. In Gabby's case, it's calmed and controlled, which is interesting. And she's like, get some rest, Reiner. I'll be back with everyone. Which, the end of this volume, what a great bookend. That's going to be a great bookend. And then, of course, Jean's like, I warned you all about this. I never imagined he'd plan to slaughter everyone outside the walls. But if they all disappear, so will all the hatred. No, that's not correct. But great. All blank and empty land will be all that's left. And it's because they labeled us as devils and tried to kill us all. This is something the outsiders brought on themselves. There's nothing we could have done, right? And Armin's like, but this is going too far. Yeah. He rejected Zeke and his plan. And he rejected sacrificing Historia. In order to protect us, he sacrificed all of humanity behind the walls. And the ones who will benefit from the massacre are us. But this is the point, is that none of them look happy about it. They're all like, wow, Eren, you've given us all the worst case of survivor's guilt. Thank you. You've destroyed everyone on the planet to save us. That's great. Thank you. We're not going to feel guilty about this at all. And then the Titans. Okay. So if Eren has command of the Founder, can't he control all the Titans? They're eating our allies. What are you going to do with this kid? And so, yeah, poor Falco. And then, of course, then we have Pixis and his mom. And I love that Connie says we're feeding him his mom, and Mikasa and Armin and Jean are like, no. I like that Armin says, if we kill someone close to them like him, it'll provoke a whole new conflict with Reiner and the Cart Titan. Like, Armin's like, let's calm down. Let's think about this. If Marley's already done for, there's no point in continuing this blood feud. Let's stop. And then I like that Connie I feel like in this moment, Connie he's like so overwhelmed that he's just channeling his anger where it's the most simple, and that's with his mom. And then what makes me mad is that he's like, well, you ate Bertolt and you're alive. And Armin's like, I didn't decide that. You all did. So, whoa now. I like that Armin's like, I didn't decide my fate at all. I was going to die for you all. And you brought me back. So, what do you want from me? I feel like the Titan there is supposed to look like somebody specifically. The one with the little hair flip. It looks like if Victor Nikiforov became a Titan. And then Connie takes off with Falco. But then they get up there, and so Yelena's losing it, right? Why is Zeke not controlling his Titans? Well, because he's hanging out with Eren right now and is kind of indisposed, right? Oh my god. Oh my god, meanwhile, no! Not the one that's Niall! No! Damn it! No! Kaya, oh my god. They really make it look like Niall in the manga. Like, it's clearly him as a Titan. And the funny thing is that Gabby saved Niall's life back then, and now she has to take it. Oh, that's awful. And then it's Gabby that saves her. Yep. She tells Kaya to give up. Oh my god. The crazy thing is it's like when Eren saved Mikasa from the Titan way back at the beginning, right? Yep. I mean, put Niall out of his misery. It just looks exactly like that. I'm shipping Gabby with Falco, so sorry, Kaya. And thought it was Sasha, but it wasn't. And asking Kaya, oh. They captured Falco, so I came back to rescue him. And I love Mr. Brown's like, you mean Ben? Oh. And then Kaya makes the decision to save her. just because she saved her too. What's really weird is that Mrs. Browse looks exactly like the Tiber sister Lara, so I'm always like, oh look, there's the Warhammer right with us. And then Niccolo said, I killed them. And she's like, save us, Mr. Soldier. Mia, you get Ben and run. Oh. And they talk about the daydream. Oh my gosh. Oof. And then here's the conversation where she's like, why did you defend me? Why did you risk your life? She's like, I'm the devil that tried to kill you, right? And look, Gabby makes an astute assumption and realizes, no, the devil was me. I've killed a lot of people who would praise me. So people would praise me. That's the devil in me. And Niccolo says, he's the devil inside me too. And you, Kaya, and everyone. There's a devil inside of all of us. And that's why the world is this way. Then what should we do? We get out of the forest, and if we can't, we have to keep on trying. That's it. That one page is the story. That's the thing. And it connects to Uri, it connects to Kenny, it connects to the miracle. That's it. It's the idea that all of us have a monster inside of us. All of us have a titan within us, whether they're Eldian or not. And that's what Niccolo says. He's like, the titans just manifest themselves. That devil manifests itself, and it's able to do so. But every Marley and everyone in the world has a devil inside of them that can come out at any time, like with Eren. And the question is, do we lean into that devil and just say, oh, it's just how we are and we have no choice? Or do we make the active decision to get out of the forest and to not let the devil escape from inside of us? And if we can't, we keep trying, even if it kills us, even if it does. That's the message. That's the whole story. Isayama takes one page to tell the whole theme. And then if we don't, and then the rest of the story is, well, if you don't do that, here's what's going to happen. So it's like, And then Keith Shaddis, mother trucking Keith Shaddis being like, you whippersnappers, you may have like beat me up, but now I'm saving your asses. And they're like, Instructor Shaddis. He's like, yeah, I know, I'm wiping your diapers. Let's go. Oh, I love that shot. Mikasa looking at Yelena. Oh my god, it's like the two women who have crushes on the Jaeger brothers just staring at each other, and she's like, son of a bitch. Oh my god. That Titan has a very distinct face. Like, who be that? I feel like that's supposed to be somebody specifically. Oh my god. And then them all getting the thunder spears. Oh my god. And pulling them all. Yeah, like all the scouts. I'm like, I just remember the soundtrack blaring in our heads. Yes, from the anime. Oh, and then, that moment where Jean and Armin know it's Pixis. And Armin's like, I'm sorry, Commander. And he looks like he's in such pain. Like Pixis and Armin. We've made it this far because of you. Oh, rest in peace. Damn. And Louisa and everything. Yeah, it's like, and that's such a horrible thing, is that it's like, at this point, it's like, you got us here, Pixis, but now we're going to let you go. Kind of like with Niall. Whew! And then Anyan's like, is my homeland doomed as well? Yep. And then comes Flock. Oh my god, here comes Flock. Look at him. You know what Flock reminds me of? And I don't know if I said this in the anime or not, but have you ever watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail? Flock is the prince. Like, after Lancelot comes and slaughters, like, the whole thing. Like, he's the prince, and everybody's like, you're still alive. And he's like, oh, I just barely made it. And they're like, but how? And he's like, and he starts singing the song about how he survived. Flock is that prince from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, right? Yeah. I can't afford to die. And then, yeah, he gathers up Yelena and all the others. Meanwhile, I like that Armin's like, oh, I'm glad you're not hurt, Mr. Browse. Oh my god. And I just love Mr. Brown's like, well, same to you. We're in the apocalypse, but how's it going? I feel like the apocalypse would be happening, and he's that guy being like, you want some soup? It's like Jimmy Stewart in that Jim Carrey comedic bit, like, look at that mushroom cloud. You know, oh, what are you? Why are you here? And Gabby's like, I just want Falco back. And they're like, well, Connie has taken him away. And she's like, I can't give up on Falco. No, she's like, no matter. I like that she doesn't get mad at Connie. She's like, I just want him back. And so here, okay, Gabby asks, can't Eren Yeager turn Connie's mom back into a human? The founding titan can do anything, right? And I like that Armin is just sweating, being like, well, technically, yes. But if he could, I imagine Eren would have turned the soldiers transformed by Zeke back into humans. Well, no, because again, Eren has insane tunnel vision and is not thinking of that. He's just thinking of goal ahead, must go towards goal, can only, again, it's the concept of Eren can only move forward. He can't move from side to side. He can't see what's in his peripheral. He can only see what's in front of him. That's the curse of the attack titan. That's the curse of Eren's entire vision. He can't see the stuff around him that's like, maybe you should take care of this too. Not part of it. And then that's when Gabby says, well, we can ask him. We can ask Eren. Does he have to kill everyone? He doesn't have to do that. Why doesn't he just attack the military facilities? Let's ask him. And he's like, he stripped the armored titan of his armor, so he must be able to do that. And I like that Armin's like, wait, what? And Mika is like, wait, where's Reiner? And yeah. And then he's like, the armor's hardening was undone when the walls fell. And then that's when Annie, yep, that's where Annie comes out. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And I love Armin's like, oh my god, that means Annie's free. And Annie's like, what the fudge happened? Ah, sunset. Okay. We found a survivor. And this is where Hitch is. We'll talk about the whole thing of that Island Devils being at the beginning. We'll talk about that at the end of this volume. Okay, and then Hitch trying to just like help everyone. It's Eren Yeager's fault. And so here's the problem. The problem is that, again, Eren's like, oh, well, don't worry. I'll destroy the wall. I'll destroy the world. And then everybody on Paradis will be right as rain. But the problem is it's not going to be right as rain because you've literally caused a civil war within your own country. Because now half the people are mad at Eren because his, the rumbling that he didn't have to do full scale has killed all these people. But then other people are like, oh, well, let's dedicate our hearts and join Eren and sing Kumbaya together. It's like you've created this civil war on the island. Like, what did you think was going to happen? And he doesn't even know. And it's like the 5 people you've wanted to protect. What about everybody else on Paradis? But Eren doesn't care about everybody else. So it's frustrating. And then, yeah, Hitch. Hitch is like, I don't get paid enough for this. And then, oh, you can see Annie behind the door. Yep. Oh my god, Annie. I love Annie with her hair down like that. And she's got her, like, foot up against the door. That's really good. And then I like that Hitch is like, hell no. I ain't got time for this, bestie. You're so weak. Who knew there would be the day come that I would throw you down? And she's like, I need to go to the basement, the town. Yeah. And that's when she sees, she's like, you don't have the stamina to transform. And Annie's like, well, why don't we try? And I like that she gets her on the horse. Yeah. And she's like, oh, you can hear us the whole time? For over 4 years? And Annie's like, it's been a fun time. Yeah. Watching a hazy dream. I just heard both of your voices. I have a decent idea of what's going on thanks to you. He's going to destroy the world. So yeah, that, like her dream of finding her father. Yep. And she's like, check out their footsteps. I've been cleaning up after you and now Eren. You asked me all those times what I thought about it. I love that we see Hitch like banging on the wall, like yelling at her. About how little we thought it all. Okay, so we get Annie talking about how they praised us for killing people, and we're taught that once we were beyond our borders, we could kill combatants and civilians alike. We were atoning for our sins on a mission to save the world, so anything was justified. Which is kind of like Eren, you know, him being like, anything's justified, you know, as long as it's accomplishing the goal. Armin told me about your situation. You wanted to stop that, where the corpse is buried under the rubble, just a sacrifice to you. And she says, no. I didn't care about saving the world. I didn't care about any of it. And she talks about being abandoned by her parents. My blood test showed my mother had been having an affair with an Eldian or something like that. So her mom might have been Marleyan. And I was taken in by a man of Eldian blood from another country. And they put him there for a similar reason. And so he trained her up so she could be a Marleyan warrior. And in the end, though, he regretted it. Yeah, and so we go back to the scene where she's like, I love the hint, just like, what, is this your life story? And she's like, I heard you talk for 4 years straight, so shut up. It stopped mattering to me who people were and where they came from, whether they lived or died. I didn't think any life had value, not even my own. Until that day, the morning we were heading off to the island to retake the founder, he dropped to his knees and apologized. And told me he'd been wrong. He said none of it matters as long as I returned. He saw me as his daughter. And so that's kind of like in this moment, and I know a lot of people don't like forgive the dad, and I'm very on the fence about it because I'm like, you still put her through hell, like, dude. But what it makes me think in this moment is it reminds me of Eren and Mikasa in a way, where Annie is kind of like Eren. Eren's kind of like, you know, he killed those men without a thought, just like she crushed the bug. And he's like, he didn't think that there was any value outside of having freedom, not even for Eren's own life, just like Annie didn't see value for her own life as well. But then you have the dad coming clean and apologizing and saying that they just wanted them to return and that he loved her. And Mikasa had that opportunity to say something similar to Eren, but she backed away. So it's like Annie came to the realization that, oh shit, this guy loves me. There is something for me to latch onto in this world that sees worth in me. Eren didn't get that moment with Mikasa. Even though we as the audience know that it's there, Eren literally is such a baka, he has to be told to his face in small words. That's the case. So yeah. She's like, I have a father waiting for me. And others have people just as important to them too. I think I've committed irredeemable sins. If it meant I could return my father, I'd do it all over again. And Hitch is like, fine, whatever, I get it. I like Hitch's hair flipping out. I feel like that's new. I don't think her hair flipped out quite like that before the time skip, but I like it. Even if you do return to him, you'll find nothing but rubble and a corpse. And she's like, yeah, I know. And then we have, them kicking down the dad and going to shoot him. And he's like, promise me you'll come back. And I promise. And she says, I promise I will. Oh my God. And so the question is, did the dad end up getting shot or not? I don't know. Is her dad going to end up getting shot or what? Oof. Okay. Meanwhile, I love that transition of the gunfire. We don't know if Annie's dad is dead or not. And we transition over to Shadis. And him being like, well, I'm fine. Junta's nape has been cut from its backbone. We've just seen it laid to rest. The people who support the Jaegerists will take control of this island. They'll wipe out members of the old order like me. I don't have the energy to live out the rest of my years shitting outdoors like on some lonely mountain. Oh my God. So Keith is like, I'm going to go down fighting and possibly have a shippable relationship with a Marleyan. I'm just going to go out the way I want, right? Oh my God. Yes. And that, I love what Shatnez says here. Why do you think I sat there and let a bunch of piss ants kick and stomp me to the ground? Do as the Jaegerists say and don't disobey them. You wouldn't be able to protect anyone but yourselves, but stay here and join them. And when the day comes, rise up and don't lose sight of who you are. Yeah, he's like, just follow along until you're at the top of the ladder where you can make the decisions and then do something. Mm-hmm. And then Armin, oh my god. And Armin's like, I gotta go. Will you tell him to give up on turning his mom back into a human? And Armin's like, yeah, I will. If it doesn't work, I have to do everything possible. Gabby won't trust me unless she sees my actions. And Reiner and the cart are somewhere, and she's the key to placating them. Yep. It's not as if the issue of the inheriting the Nine Titans is going away. In the worst case, we'd have to repeat the last 2,000 years of conflict surrounding their power on this tiny island. I'm so tired. I could hop into bed and sleep for 2 days straight. Armin's like, I haven't done anything. I need to sleep. Humanity's history is becoming a whole lot narrower, cozier even. Yeah. And if I don't do all I can, there will be a massive impact on humanity's quaint little future. Oh my God, Connie. And Armin. And then when Mika says, like, what should I do? And he's like, help Jean out and think for yourself. And what about Eren? And that's what Armin doesn't want to talk about, because Eren is like the elephant in the room, being like, Armin, you can tell that Armin is mad because he's like, he's seen some of the warning signs and some of the warning signs he didn't see, and he's frustrated because he thought he knew Eren so well, and he's like, he's pissed because he's like, why didn't I notice this? Why didn't I do something? Was there something I could have done? Should I have acted? I probably should have acted. And he wants Mikasa to do something for herself, but he's like, I don't know. What could we do? Hanji and the captain could be dead right now, and Flock and his men might start pointing his guns with us, and Annie might be back in action. He's like, the military's chain of command is broken and it's chaos. Even Astoria could be in danger. The volunteers, Asmobito and Niccolo, like seeing Armin like completely in distress. We're in no place to think about Eren. He's a lost cause. And I feel like in that moment, Armin doesn't really believe that Eren's a lost cause, but he feels so betrayed by Eren that he's like, I can't think about him now because of all this stuff. It's like everything, all these things Armin is yelling about is because of what Eren has done. And Armin's like, I can't think because Eren has done all these horrible things and he's affected our reality like this. He's like, what can I do with Eren right now? And then he sees Mikasa and he's like, ugh. He's like, what do we do? And that's when Armin says, if it were Erwin here, he wouldn't have snapped at you like that. There's your answer. I wasn't the one who should have come back. It's like our trio's going through a lot of lack of self-worth. Mikasa doesn't know what to do. Armin doesn't know what to do. Eren is being Eren. And I feel so bad for Armin because I'm like, Armin, you are the one that should have come back. Eren said so himself. But it's like, frustrating. Okay. And then I like that Mr. Browse is like, look, Mr. Browse is like right on every front. Mr. Browse is like, now Connie's not just going to sacrifice your friend. He's going to hesitate. Where Mr. Browse is freaking Nostradamus. Like, to have him predict the future, does he have the Attack Titan in him? I think I said that in the anime. I'm like, is he an inheritor of the Attack Titan? Does he know what's going on? And then Niccolo says, we're going to stay with the Browses. And you guys should leave. And that's when Gabby's like, my real name is Gabby. I was like, Gabby's weird. I like Mia better. All right. Oh my God. And then of course Flock is trying to be this devil too, right? And Jean's like, what the fudge? And I like that Jean's on the edge, right? He's on the edge there. And he's like, who the hell asked you to start acting like you're king of the hill? Oh my God. And that's when Flock's like, well, as a matter of fact, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to flaunt this now. And Jean's like, the fudge? Yep. And John's like, are you serious? We'll welcome you as Eldians. And then that's when oh my God. Oh, Flock. Oh. Jesus. Oh my God, Izayama. That is horrifying. Oh my God, that's sickening. Pride is nothing worth dying for. What's so bad about submission? Oh, and the way Flock says that, oh my God, Flock is terrifying. Oof. Oof. And Mikasa's like, what is going on? He's like, I speak on Eren's behalf. I'll wipe her out any resentment left within it. Oh my God, this is just, it's too much, right? And Mikasa's like, what the fudge? This is freedom. You don't need to fight anymore. You can live as you please. And what I like about this is the anime makes it seem a little bit, the anime makes it seem more ambiguous, but here, when Flock is telling Jean, like, everything's over, you could tell Jean's kind of like, eh. He's like, what'd you just call me? The annoying, irresponsible, conceited bastard. And Mikas is like, not affected by you. Zeke killed them. No, he didn't. You're a liar. And so then Mr. Connie, oh yeah, Falco. Connie's going through his Reiner moment where he's like, I've become a soldier. But it's like, would your mom be proud of you killing this kid to bring her back? Would she really? Would she really? You know? Meanwhile, Falco is saying, I'm lucky Mr. Connie is such a good person. But I gotta get back to the South somehow. I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Meanwhile, there's the cart and Magath and them. It's a smart move. And then, yay, there's Hanji! Awesome. I love how the manga just plays this all out. Like, oh, there's just random people there. What do we do? And then, yeah. Just don't eat me, okay? And there's this guy over there. A bastard who refuses to die. Which is kind of like, if you think about the Ackermans as like an altered form of Titans, like humanoid Titans, the idea that they don't die easily is kind of like a Titan themselves. So that's fun. Fun times. I also like in the anime, the cart that Levi was on was freaking huge. Here, it seems a lot more realistic where it's just like a plank that she hooked up and he's like in his little cocoon. He's going to emerge as a little beautiful butterfly. Okay. I remember Pride. I remember this episode being one that had the trigger warning because the person was shot. And you see Hanji crying as she shoots them. Which is a nice callback to Eren crying over the camp that he's about to kill. There's a parallel there, right? Yep. It's just us, Levi. And her stitching, well, them stitching back the cuts. Only you survived. You're an Ackerman. What do we do now? And Hanji relating to what she was told way back then. Yep. And that's when she's getting ready to do something. Building the wheel. Oh, I like that we see her building the wheel on the wagon. Nice. And then it happens for an instant. Yep, that she sees it. Wow. And then Levi. The beast! That piece of shit! Where is he? Oh my god! Levi's just the first thing he does when he wakes up. I like that we get Levi back fan service. Hi, Isayama. Thank you for getting Levi's sculpted back muscles. That he's like, where's Zeke? I like that Levi doesn't ask where Eren is, because he's like, knew that about Eren. No big deal. Where's Zeke? What happened? I screwed up. I wasn't able to figure out if he was truly ready to die. And I let him get away. What will that get us if we keep running and hiding? Yep. You won't be able to stay out of the action. And then Levi says, my goal is to kill Zeke. Yep. There we go. And so, yeah. And they're like, so we're all on the same page, right? Yep. How do you expect? I like that the way Magath phrases it. You have the strength to stand against the 9 titans. How do you expect to dodge all my bullets looking like that? And I like that Levi says, I'm not dodging bullets. I'm presenting myself to an enemy in this starry state. So shoot or listen, it's up to you. And Magath says, we'll listen before we shoot. Again, it's the idea of like the one side, it's like the sides presenting each other being like, I'm not going to fight you if you listen. You have the upper hand. And in this case, Magath, who has the upper hand in this moment, makes the choice to listen. Because that's just Magath's character. Okay. And Hanji's like, well, Zeke is probably with Eren. Titan Dr. Hanji. I love that title. Yep. We have to do this together and combine forces. It's unbelievably large and it seems impossible to beat, but this is all we got. We only have this choice now, right? Okay, so then we have Jean in the bunk. I like that it shows him with others, not just by himself. And then Mikasa. And then Hitch and Annie and Reiner's just sleeping there. And then Gabby with Armin. I like that double spread. That's good. Yeah. And then, yeah, Connie being like, what do we do? Sasha, would you have understood? So then there's the village. This is Ragako Village. And Connie's like, how do you know that? And he's like, I heard you talking to yourself. Yep. Are you going to plan to get revenge on me? I get that. Oh. The sad thing is Connie says, don't worry, it can't move. It being his mom. It's been like this for years. Why would you show me this? Oof. Oh, that's oof. Because I want you to help me brush this Titan's teeth. And Falco's like, the fudge? What? And he's like, are you sure? And that's when they show up, right? Oh my God, Connie, you're fooling no one. And Falco, and yeah, and that's when we have this moment here. I don't want to hear it. He says, should I give up on my mom? How can someone as righteous as you understand an idiot like me? And Armin's like, I'm not righteous like you. No. And he gets him up on that ladder. And then, of course, Armin's like, well, what would Erwin do? Well, Erwin would jump into action. And he's like, forgive me, Connie. And then Armin has this moment where he's like, I'm not worthy of it. He's like, fine, spare Falco. He's like, I'm going to dump so that this happens. And that's when Connie's like, well, son of a bitch, I didn't want you to do that. I love that Falco's just like, oh, God, let me fall off the ladder. Oh. It's like everybody at this point in the story, because I know some people have complained about this plot line right here, but it's like, no, everyone is at their lowest point. Like, Eren's actions have like, I'm like, Eren, do you realize that you've made Connie freak out to the point where he was going to like dump a kid in his mom's mouth? Do you realize you made Armin get to the point where he's like, has such survivor's guilt that he's about to throw himself in the Titan's jaw? Like, Armin and Reiner relate to each other a lot in this moment. It's like, the fudge. And then Gabby with Falco. And she tells him about his brother. Yeah, and Connie's like, yeah, my mom would have inherited the colossal Titan. That would cause my mother to suffer. She told me to become a great soldier when she sent me out in the world. But her son nearly killed a kid and a friend. That's the kind of soldier I am. And then Armin's like, well, I could never fill the commander's shoes, so I'm no better. And Connie is like, look, we both kind of suck at the soldier business, but we can't just sit here and waller in it. We need to save some people because there's people that need it. Meanwhile, Louisa, she has the scarf on. I love that Mikasa's like, give me the damn scarf. I thought I'd bring me closer to you. And look, maybe because it's like, why, you creepo? Give me the damn scarf. I'll never be able to set the world, see the free world that Eren Yeager will make. And because it's like, he told me he wanted me to throw this scarf away. But I thought if he wanted me to throw it away, she's like, give it back. I chased after you and I lived it. It came out. I like Mika says, like, I didn't ask you to worship me. She's like, that wasn't the point. But she's like, give me that damn scarf back. And see, at this point, in this moment, I don't know if I talked about it in the anime or not, but it seems like Eren, whenever he saw that Mikasa had left the scarf behind, it's like, okay, Mikasa has let me go. Mikasa she doesn't care about me anymore. I succeeded in distancing her from me. And that's not what the case is actually. It's not the case. Mikasa's like, no. And I think Mikasa realizes that Eren probably thinks that she doesn't care about him any longer. She's like, give me the scarf back. That's not true. I make that decision, not you. And so, yeah, the end of the rumbling line. And some people are like, the ground shaking, the bells announcing freedom. Ugh. Nope. And so there's Flock with Jean and them. We've won against the world thanks to Eren, our emancipator, and us, the Jaegerists. Oh, there's that one guy. There's that one guy that's like, hey, Mikasa, you gonna join the Jaegerists and become one of our rulers? And she's like, not interested. She's like, no. And then, okay, long live the Jaegerists. And I like that Armin's like, we have to hurry and find where Reiner is. And I like that Gabby's like, oh, he's going to be in a coma for 2 or 3 more days. Gabby's like, no, this is how comas work. Love it. Love it. And Falco's like, do we need pie? Should we be doing this? But honestly, I don't care what anybody says about this scene. After, like, Isayama gives us, like, maybe I can count on my hands how many genuinely funny moments Isayama gives us in this series. This is one of them, so I will take it. After all this garbage, I will take it. And they both look over and they're like, oh, Annie! And then I love that Connie's like, oh my god, she's stuffing her face with a pie. What a sloppy eater. And Armin's like, that's her first pie in 4 years. Like he knows. Oh my god. And then Hitch. I happened to meet Carmen and Connie, so I decided to join them. I'm going. I'm sorry for all the trouble. Thanks for talking to me for 4 years. Your gloomy roommate. How am I supposed to eat this all alone? I love that. I love that Annie in the end acknowledged that they were friends. She's like, even though she just said her gloomy roommate, it's like, you know. And then Jean's sitting there like he's going to shoot Anyan. But it's not going to happen. Yelena's like, are you ever going to stop talking and shoot? I love that Yelena is just like, ugh, don't care. You're not Zeke. Bye. And it's so interesting that Flock hesitates because there is a little bit of a coward in Flock always. So the fact that he talks this big game and he's like, we're going to be so righteous and blah, blah, blah. But at the very end, he still hesitates. It's like, there's that little bit of a coward there. And Anyan just being like, whatever. This is indiscriminate murder. Why do none of you understand? And then he missed. Ah, yeah! There's the cart titan. Hell yeah. And Flock's like, what are you doing? And then that's when he pushes Flock out of the way to get Jean and Yelena and Anyan. And Flock's like, where's Mikasa? Where is Mikasa? Like he didn't care about her one bit until now, right? And then they packed up all the stuff. Yep. Somebody's watching me, and it's Keith Shadis. It is Keith. It's very obvious it's Keith in the manga, I suppose. But in the anime, it's like, oh, who's watching them? All right. Yeah. I'm never getting sight of Titan's mouth again. That's very rude to say to a lady. Oh my god. I'm like, John, just wait till Pete becomes human again and you'll change your mind. And then I like Jean's like, bleh. That's such a great expression. Last night, I wish I could have stayed cooped up in my room with my ears shut. But if I had, the burnt ashes of the dead would never have forgiven me. Marco, yes! Oh, King Jean. Oh my god. And then, of course, Anyan's like got tears in his eyes. He's like, I don't get what that means at all. But thanks. I love that he's like, just wash yourself already. I like the tiny shippable moment with Anyan and Jean. Yelena, why? They wanted you alive. Yep, I like that Levi's just sitting up being like, oh, this bitch loves Zeke? Okay, cool. Poor Reiner! Why? Reiner, quit! He just keeps getting shit on over and over again. Like, just, I forgot she kicked him to wake him up. I'm like, Reiner's just been through the ringer, and Annie's like, having fun? Oh my god. I love that Gabby and Falco are like, it's okay, Mr. Reiner, calm down. We're all on the same side. And he's like, what has been happening? We're going now. I like Connie's like, Oh my god, the Avengers shot to save the world! Oh my god. Oh my god. It kills me that it's Connie saying it. It just, when 5 seconds ago he was trying to get Falco to brush a Titan's teeth. That is an Avengers shot. I can see why people were like, really? But yeah. I like Connie's like, there's no time. I love the reversal where it's Connie saving Annie and Reiner now. It's on the other foot. Yep. Okay. And that's the volume. Attack on Titan school cast. Oh my god, believers will be saved. Oh my god, there's Yelena and Zeke and Gabby and Falco. Won't you teach us what our soul savior Ymir is trying to tell us? Oh my god. And there's Historia there. And Eren's like, hell if I know. That girl you dressed in rags, I don't know her. Did you hear? He really did see her. Oh my god. Oh my god, look at Ymir. Look at Yelena and Zeke being like, oh, the two of them. Our prayers have been reached. Through this messenger she'll deliver us. Oh my god, seeing Zeke and Yelena together is so freaky like this. And Eren saying, holy shit, these people are all messed up. Don't they know that kidnapping is a crime? That's the state governor. Wait, you mean I can't trust the cops? And there's Niall and Anya and all them. And Eren says, I can't ever go back to how things were. I'm so afraid. I used to look up to this. And then there's Reiner, like, bursting through the doors with the Historia. And him grabbing Eren. Oh, you guys, this way. You see this Historia? So cool. Our messenger's being taken. You servants of God, extinguish yourselves. We got pushed back by the cops, so we asked Historia for help. Consider us even, Eren. And then, yeah, Hanji's like, get in, losers. How dare you take Ymir's messenger? And there's Rico. We will take him back. I'm like, is this what's going to happen? Is Reiner going to burst in along with Armin and Mikasa and them and grab Eren and go? Is that going to be how the anime ends? What? Wow. Okay. So interesting. So people are pressed for a decision. No matter the outcome, they have to choose. Wow. So we have next episode. I'm assuming we're going to start with backtracking to Jean choosing to go with Hanji and them and backtracking to that. I'm assuming that is what is about to happen. Wow. Interesting. I kind of get why the anime chose to put Island Devils later on. Now we still have to get back to the whole thing with Historia, which I'm assuming is going to get touched on next volume with Eren, leaving Historia and her making the choice. I'm assuming we're reading that next volume. I get why they chose to put the Island Devils with Dawn of Humanity in the anime, because it ties into Eren and the Rumbling attacking Marley, and it kind of goes together that way. And plus, you end episode, the 2,000 years from the future, you end that episode with it immediately going into barricades, immediately going into sunset and fall, and just immediately doing that. Like you go from one to the next, and it's just action upon action. You don't take, I could see anime wise, it would have destroyed the pacing to go immediately from Eren speaking to that whole scenario and all of that, and then back to the beginning. In terms of the anime, it makes sense how they edited it, and I'm fine. But in terms of the manga, because it's so, you let it soak in anyway, it makes sense to go back and have that chapter there, being like, how did we get to this point, and then showing Eren and showing that moment. That all makes sense. I get that. I feel like it works in both. I feel like with each medium, it works for the medium. In the manga, it works that the chapter Island Devils is where it's at. In the anime, it makes sense to move it to Dawn of Humanity. So, yeah. Makes sense. So, honestly, I feel like, I know a lot of people have issues with Sunset and Pride. I don't in terms of the manga, because everybody's like at their lowest point. Anxiety is set in. They're all thinking like, we have to do things now and set things in motion. And they're on a time clock at this point. So they really don't have time to just, I mean, obviously the thing that is established is that time is passing, them going to the festival, them riding back to find Reiner, Shig, and Sheena. There is an amount of time that passes. They don't just instantly teleport there. There is time that passes. It's just off screen and we don't see it. But Isawa doesn't have time to show like panels of horses riding through the sunset. We got to get there, and we got to get there fast. So it's like there is no time. Eren has made it to where they're on a time clock, and it's not very long. So I'm excited for volume 32. I'm excited to revisit it and see how they do all of this in relation to tying it into Dawn of Humanity at the end, and how they make it all work, and Night of the End and everything. I'm excited for it, but it's just, man. Yep. Making Eren the antagonist. So yeah, I feel like I want to talk next volume about what my opinions and theories for going into anime is going to be. It feels so weird to say that, but we're finally here. So we'll talk about it next week with volume 32. So I'm gonna read volume 32 next week, and then we're gonna do the anime, and then finish up volumes 33 and 34. So So in the meantime, I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. And yes, I will be back next week with more Attack on Titan. Bye.